Hey everyone. Now, if you're like me, you like every advantage you can get with iron sights. For one, things don't get easier the older you get. Guess that's why they make optics. But that aside, KNS Precision has that advantage for your iron sights with the crosshair front sight post. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. So let's get started.
Alrighty, let's take a look at them. Now I have three different models, if you will, or styles. The first one that we'll take a look at, I'll take them out of the packages here in a moment. This is your standard crosshair front sight post, okay? Just a standard aperture, if you will, with a fine crosshair in it. Then the next model is the hooded one. As you can see, it has a thicker hood on it. It also has a duplex style crosshair. And then the final one is what they refer to as the tactical. And you can see it's a little different. It's hooded, and then it has this little nipple on top. Now if you look closely, you'll see that there's a little dot or ball just below the crosshairs. Now this particular sight is designed to have a dual purpose. The crosshair you would zero at 100, 200, and then you would, depending on how close you want to set your tactical sight, which is the ball, say 25, 50 yards. What you do is shoot at the target, and then with the little Allen wrench provided, you would raise the ball up and down to the point of impact. So there you would have your long range and then close range. So I'm going to take them out of the packages here in a second, and we'll take a little better look at them. Now these two sights, the standard and the tactical, are machined from solid brass and receive a brass oxide coating, much like the anodized coating for aluminum. Speaking of which, now this is the newer model of the hooded one, and if I'm not mistaken, KNS said they are going to switch these two models over to aluminum rather than brass. Now this one is machined from a solid piece of brass and then receives a anodized hard coat, you know, equal to the T3 anodized mil-spec hard coat. So made 100% in USA, right in Texas, and has KNS's lifetime warranty. Now, these are available for different rifles. Okay, and then it depends on the rifle itself. Anywhere from an AK-47, 74 standard sight, M1, M14, the FAL. They even have one that is solid brass, and they don't put a brass oxide finish on it, very much like this one, for the Henry rifle to replace the front sight on the Henrys, and then it has a dovetail style base. So you'd really need to go on the website to take a look at them. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the package and we're going to take a little better look at them. Okay, let's take a look at them individually. Now I put a piece of paper here so you can get a better kind of look at the crosshairs. Hopefully the camera wants to decide to work properly. Anyway, as you can see, has standard threads, the base, then this is a standard one. It's a little thinner on the hood. Then it has a fine crosshair, if you will. Now, I'll turn this here a second. In case you're interested, now I'm going to make a comparison here so you can see. Now the crosshairs are set absolutely the exact same height as your standard A2 front style sight post. Now this came out of an A2 sight, and that also goes for most of your standard flip up sights. As long as they take a mil-spec standard sight post, these will fit. So let's take a look at the hooded one. I'm just putting it in the tweezers to make it easier here. So we'll get up here. Okay, you can see it has a thicker hood, hence hooded. And then the sights themselves is, like I said, a duplex style sight. So thicker to the outside, thinner in the middle, which it's been my experience, depending on how you shoot, you can actually use that thicker part of the duplex for a holdover on a further distance. So now we're going to be installing this one on the KISS rifle that I recently did a video on, and then the standard one's going to go on it is a PSA Freedom rifle that I built for my wife. Now the tactical is also the one I wanted to show you up close here. Get it in here. There we go. Now, as I was saying, you have this little ball here, and then you're basically a fine duplex sight. So you would zero the crosshair at 100, 200, in that area. That's what the instructions say to do. Then again, you would take another target, put it at what range you wanted. Let's say in this case 25 yards. You would aim through the crosshairs, the top ones, dead center of the target, pull the trigger. Then very carefully, without moving the rifle, leaving this on your center target, and I'm going to see if I can get this in here. Okay. There we go. Then you would dial this to the point of impact. See the ball moving? So then you, like I said, it would be a dual purpose front sight post. You would have your distance and then close range. So, and then if you decided you wanted to make this a little semi-permanent, what the instructions call for is just a dab of blue Loctite you would put down inside here, and then it would keep that from turning. So, alright, now that's a quick look at the posts themselves. So let's get it installed on one of the rifles. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is take out our A2 front sight post. Hopefully you have a front sight tool. Just a little plug. This is the KNS AR AK sight tool. It's actually designed for either the AR, A2 front sight style post, or the AK standard post. Constructed of heavy steel, tool steel, stainless steel handle, also moves. Okay, quick plug on the sight tool. Now you can go ahead and put your sight tool in and just go ahead and rotate it, click, click, click if you want. It's been my experience, take a small screwdriver, such as this, okay, press down on your little plunger down there, get on your sight, and then just turn it out. Hopefully, I know it's a little tough to see with my hands in the way, but we'll see if I can get it here. And you just turn your sight out, let up every so often. Now remember, your plunger or detent is spring loaded, so be mindful of that. Because if it takes off into the great unknown, well, you'll be buying an A2 front sight rebuild kit. Okay, now we have it all the way out. There's no need to disturb this at all, so just leave that in the rifle. Now, we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna install the hooded one. Now it's kind of funny, in a way, is talking with KNS, I guess they've had people say, why don't you make a tool for it? I mean, really? You can get a hold of this. I don't see the purpose in a tool for it. Anyway, a little personal opinion there. So, want to go ahead, put it in, get it started. Just turn it down. Push. You can push in just for the moment with your thumb to get it set. So, and then just to put it back in, use your screwdriver and screw it on in. Now, one thing about it, and I know somebody's going to bring it up, where the sights are designed, the front sight post is designed to adjust in quarter turn increments. Well, as you can figure out, this goes in half turn increments. So you're gonna have to decide at what range you want to zero this. So, okay, I'm gonna show you on a flip up sight. We're putting the standard one, so I'm just gonna give you a look at that. Okay, now as you can see, this is an MI flip up sight. And it already has a hood itself. I believe this is what they call the HK style hood. So, and we're installing this. Alrighty. Now, this one's going to be easy because we do have a red dot sight on this rifle, so it'll be easy to dial it in. Okay, now let's take a look at how this works. Okay, now what we have here is your standard, let's say A2 style sight picture, which you get with, you know, something like this. So you have your rear aperture and your front sight post. So when you bring up the weapon, your eye and your brain are looking for reference points. Okay, now ideally, if manufacturers on the rear aperture would put the vertical and horizontal hash marks
that literally would make life a lot easier. And there are some sights out there that do have them. Just a prime example, my uncle's got a Springfield 1903 bolt action that has the hash marks on the rear aperture. So, works perfect. But unfortunately, manufacturers of the apertures do not put that on there. So when you draw the weapon up, you're trying to find those reference points to line this up. Your point of impact, the top of your front sight post. You have your leads, then your front sight post. Now, it's been my experience, I'm not bad with iron sights. I mean, I was in the military for a time. I learned how to shoot with them. A lot of guns I've shot had open sights. But still, when you bring it up, sometimes, you know, it depends on your cheek weld. You know, every time you bring the rifle up, do you have that exact same cheek weld every time? And if you don't, then you have to kind of, you know, till you do. So this basically leaves it a lot open to try to find reference points and pinpoint your target. Now, with the KNS crosshair front sight post, now this isn't exactly proportioned, but you'll get the general idea. This is what you'd be looking at. Okay, here is your rear aperture. Here is your front sight, the complete front sight post. You have your circle, you have your crosshairs. So, what's going to be easier to try to acquire your target with? Bringing up your rifle and trying to figure this out? Which, I mean, it can be done. I'm not knocking them because I've used them. Or bringing your rifle up and seeing this sight picture, which is going to be a lot easier for your eye and your brain to acquire those reference points, because all you have to do is put a circle in a circle. You know, equal space around, a lot faster. In playing with this front sight, I've noticed, you know, shooting targets at 50, 100 yards, mainly steel. I've noticed that when I bring it up or I go to aim, I'm just lining up these two circles. And the target's in the center. Now sometimes, you know, depending how you're focusing, is whether you'll actually see the crosshairs. And I've done it, you know, both ways. Some say focus on the rear sight and the target, your front sight post will be blurry. You know, the other way is your rear sight will be blurry. Concentrate on the front sight post, the target behind it will be blurry. So there's, you know, a couple of different ways to do it. But this in general makes life a lot easier. And it really is. There was times I would just be shooting from the bench, and a couple of times free-handed or offhand, where I just line up, you know, put the circle in the circle, target in the center. I didn't even necessarily see the crosshairs and hit the steel. So, I mean, it's something to think about. As I always say, it's a matter of personal preference. But this compared to this, that's going to be a lot faster. So, just something to think about. You know, if anything, you know, pull your rifle out, look down your irons, and then just imagine that little circle at the end with the crosshairs, and, you know, so, for what it's worth. Alright, let's move on. Well, there you have it, my friends. Look at them, the installation. Sorry if my hands kind of got in the way there. It's really hard angle to get. Try to put them in. So, I gotta say, you know, for me personally, it definitely has improved. You know, my ability to acquire my target really is just a little bit more of an advantage, bringing that out. So, you know, and it really does come down to personal preference, my friends. You know, some people might not, you know, might think, I don't need them. Hey, to each their own. You know, for those of you that follow my channel, KNS Front Sight post packages. It's kind of a selection of front sight posts. It was for the standard A2 sight and then for the Magpul Pro. Again, just personal preference. They do help. They really do. And before we close, just kind of a little piece of trivia about KNS Precision. The crosshair front sight posts were one of their first products when they opened the company. And that was, what, I believe, like 10, 11, 12 years ago. So, they've been around for a while. And talking with KNS Precision, you know, they pretty much told me there's actually a lot of people that do use these, and law enforcement too, because it does give you a faster acquisition. So, anyway, I'll put a link in the description below. You know, stop over, take a look. As I said in the beginning, you know, they make several different style rifles. Basically the 3 models, you know, and it just depends on, you know, what rifle you're looking at as to what model's available. So, I do know that KNS Precision is undergoing a website change, so if by chance the link doesn't work, go ahead and post a comment and I will get on their website and I will get the proper links and place them down below. So, anyway, I think that about wraps it up for today. As I like to say, when precision counts, get precise with KNS Precision. We can ring it again. Oh yeah. Dead on. Till next time, my friends, target on.